Hello, hello. Good morning, good evening, good night, depending on where you are on this beautiful earth. So, in a previous video, I shared an example of driving that I used with Gordon about being excited, and I thought that I would share where I extracted, like the conversation that its origins. So, I have this philosophy in parenting. I think it's a good one where I think I came to this when Gordon was very small. He loved climbing trees or climbing tall things, and as long he would sometimes ask me to put him up there. And from very young, I was like, oh no, he had to be able to climb it. If he couldn't climb it, I wasn't going to put him up there because I figured if he didn't have the strength to make it up there, then I have no business, it'd be putting him in harm, putting him somewhere that he couldn't get to on his own. So again, I think nature reveals so much wisdom if we would pay attention. So with that, I learned that whatever questions he would ask me, I would match him with how I answer the question. I would always tell him the truth, always. I never wanted to have to backtrack with Gordon and clean up a lie or, I didn't want to do that. I feel like that's not right. So what I decided was, well, depending on his age and maturity, I will always answer him in truth, but to the measure that he's ready to handle. And so, when he started asking me, where do babies come from? Why are you bleeding? Mamas, because I'm sure your kids are asking the same things. Well, it caught me off guard. Of course it catches me off guard. Thank God I'm pretty witty and I'm a pretty quick thinker, but holy cow, these things do catch all of us moms and dads off guard. When your little child comes to you, why are you bleeding? Where do babies come from? Your mind is on a million other things and you've got to stop. And, or at least I do. I stop because I'm like, okay, that's a big question. So let me answer. And so little by little, over about a year, he would ask more and more because I would only answer him to the measure that he could understand. So it took about a year for him to finally gather all the information that mommies and daddies snuggle in bed and we have puzzle pieces that fit together, and then mommy, daddy, and God put a baby in the belly. And so, and it wasn't a laughing matter. It wasn't because he doesn't know. There's no perversion in him. There's no silliness. It's just matter of fact. And so we got that down. Well, then about a year after that, he goes, Mom, when can I make a baby? And I said, well, I guess at age 13 or when puberty hits, you technically can make a baby. And that's when I used the example of a car. And I said, well, son, right now, can you drive a car? I said, you probably could. You can see over the steering wheel. You can reach, you can steer, you can see, you can reach the pedals. You have arms, eyes, ears, you've got all the tools that it takes physically to drive the car. You got the tools. See what I'm saying? The analogy I'm making here? I said, but should you? And he's like, well, no. I said, you're right, because you could kill someone. When you're in that car driving, you're not just when you're in that car driving, you're not just responsible for yourself. You're responsible for who's in the car with you. You're responsible for all the other drivers on the road to an extent. You're responsible for pedestrians. It's a lot more than just, let's get in the car and have fun. I said, it can be life or death. It's a big deal to drive. I said, but I bet you're excited to drive, aren't you? He's like, yes, I'm so excited. And so in a way, I was paralleling, getting married, getting to have sex, and getting to be able to have a baby with the same excitement of being able to drive. It's like, yes, you should look forward to it. But with the same measure of excitement you have, there should be an exact measure of like realizing the responsibility, and I didn't get into him. I didn't get in with him. He doesn't understand probably the pleasure part of it. We didn't get into that. It was just kind of like, ooh, marriage, when can I do it? When can I have a baby? No, I hope he doesn't get into that with me anytime soon. But anyway, back to this, because I'm not sure if everyone's childhood was like this, and I didn't experience this so much, but I have lots of friends and people I've met along the way that were really shamed about sex, that were taught that it's shameful, or that it was put in the dark, in other words. And when you put something in the dark, go put a piece of bread in the dark. It's going to mold and fester. Go put an idea in the dark. It's going to mold and fester. When you shame a child or make them feel bad asking for something, you are inviting it to turn perverse and vile. You've got to discuss these things with your kids in a way that takes it out of perversion, which, man, all you have to do is sit in front of the TV for 5 minutes. I mean, there are shows I used to watch. Like I used to love, what was that show called? Boy Meets World. It's such a cute show, right? I watch it as an adult and I'm like, oh my God, these kids were like goo over the opposite sex. And it was, all you have to do is watch it to see there's an unbalance of woohoo, dating is just, there's no responsibility. Like it's playing house, all the perks, but none of the responsibilities. So anyway, we've got our kids being inundated through cartoon. It's everywhere. It's just a matter of like, if your eyes can see it or not. So as parents, it really is our responsibility to not only shepherd and dial in and out of what they're watching, but it's our job to teach them. You cannot teach your child about sex or responsibility or the opposite sex once hormones have already kicked in. You've already got to lay the foundation, not the full foundation, because like I said, there's wisdom, what they're ready for, right? Like when Gordon was 2 years old and he'd help me in the garden, I didn't expect him to dig a 3-foot hole. I was happy if he could carry my little garden tools. So in other words, he had a place. He had a place to be out there learning, but it was a smaller role. And you can take that and apply it to anything. They have a right to know about finances, about sex, about money, about marriage, about death, about life, about birth. There's no subject off the table. It's just a matter of the degree, the wisdom, like what, and not all kids are equal. Some can handle more, some less, and that's okay. Who better to know how much they can handle than their own parents? And so anyway, so I just want to encourage parents out there, have conversations with kids. They can handle it. And it's, the thing is, not once does Gordon laugh, ooh, like babies, because it was never presented to him that way. And the same was with my older son, none of these things were presented in a goofy way where he would laugh or make fun or like, ooh. It's just the same as learning anything with anatomy, anything with how the human body works, with a level of respect. And I don't know, it's a really, I don't know why it's so taboo, but I will warn, and this is serious, leaving these topics off the table to where they learn about them at school, or, even things like letting Gordon know that it's okay to be excited. It's okay that you're excited. It's okay that you're going to be attracted to women. All of those things are okay. But let me show you the other hand. The other hand is there's a responsibility. The other hand is self-control. And those are things that are best taught. You talk about them too, but they're taught from such a young age. Self-control. You don't give in to all your impulses. And so all of these things, it's such a holistic, and it starts the moment they're born. This way of teaching them, this way of being a part of their life, this way of even through play, everything is taught and everything is intentional. So anyway, I hope this video finds, new parents or a new caregiver, and this can spark some sort of a conversation with their girlfriends or their colleagues or men with their buddies, that are talking about parenting, because these things really are important. Do not let these beautiful subjects, these heavenly, sex is a gift. These things, all of these things are a gift from God. Do not let them be put in the dark to where they're adulterated and perverse and turned into scum. Don't do that. That's your responsibility, mama and dada. That's our responsibility. We keep these things in the light. We shepherd our children. The school system's not going to do it. TV's not going to do it. It's our responsibility. And I'm so glad it's our responsibility. So anyway, and I think that more parents would step up to the table if they thought about it. A lot of us are beating a new path or creating a new path because we weren't raised this way. A lot of us don't have examples to look to, like we're doing it on our own. And so anyway, I think that's awesome. And yeah, enjoy some good dinner topics. Bye-bye.